This is Olivia Michaelchuk's jacket from, I don't know if you know.
I don't know who that is.
So, okay, not to get sad right off the hop, but like Brendan Berg from Royal Canoe and Olivia Michaelchuk, they died in a car accident this past summer. And Olivia was one of my best friends, but she used to have a podcast about the local arts industry called Paper Cut Podcast.
Oh.
So I thought, I'm going to bring her spirit into this conversation.
I love that.
And her mom was like very excited to listen to this.
Nice.
That's great. Yeah. That's a great jacket.
I know.
Style.
It is.
I probably should have said that on air.
Say it again.
Yeah.
We won't judge.
Tell us about your jacket, Elise.
Does it have any
I'm gonna
significance?
shut up.
That's good. We got it. We're rolling.
Oh, you have to speak into this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Misfits, Claire, Elise. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is my no. Just kidding. Where should I look?
Anywhere your heart desires.
Okay.
Let's give the audience a little bit of lore here because Elise and I know each other from the cabin party extravaganza a couple months ago. It was you and your partner Tyler Del Pino, if you're in the know, and my drummer Shelby and his partner Michelle, and we had an absolute ball. And then I was talking to Tyler about getting him on the show, and he's like, that sounds great, but who he should really get is Elise for the management and record label and all that stuff. And who you should really get is Claire as well, because then it's Misfits and it's great.
Oh,
So
I'm
here
happy
we
to
are.
be
Shout
included.
out Tyler Del Pino.
Yeah.
So I guess, let's start with your guys' background in music. What was the journey to get here? How did you decide you wanted to start Misfits?
You want to go? You want me to go first?
Yeah. Why don't you go first?
Well, it's been a long journey. Elise and I were both artists. I mean, we still are.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really intended to get into music when I was younger. But I had people who kind of forced me into it where they're like, you write songs. And I'm like, no, not really. But they're like, yeah, you should. And I was like, okay. And then I've been in bands for 15, 16 years now. And I actually became a legal assistant and got a lot of admin training. And then that's how I got my job at Manitoba Music, because it was an assistant role. And then I was there for 6 years and got into a lot of event planning and membership and learning all about the different roles in the industry. And Elise worked there as well, and we became good friends. And I liked her work ethic a lot, and knew that she would be a good partner down the road. But yeah, Elise started the business. I just got poached and came on. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yes. Well, I grew up in a musical family and church. So, ta-da! Then I joined a rock band and a metal band. And yeah, I mean, I got to this point where my band from Calgary, Go for the Eyes, we kind of started to do some things around our, well, mainly city, but I felt like we were at this ceiling where we actually still, there was a legendary venue there called the Gateway at SAIT, which is a college. It's no longer there, RIP. But we still, and I guess it's a good thing for me because we are record holders as the local band who sold the most amount of tickets at the Gateway. So we were just regularly selling out venues. That's a 400 capacity venue. And we had won exposure, which is the radio competition where you get money and all these opportunities, blah, blah, blah. We did the halftime show at the Labor Day Classic. And it felt like we were doing so many things, but getting nowhere. And that's kind of when my interest for the music business side came through. I was like, hey, what the hell? Why are we doing these things? Why do we have fans? Why are we touring? How come all of this is happening, but we're not moving forward? So that's when I started to really get interested and do some like interning and do things outside of my band. And I really felt pulled to Manitoba because the art scene here is so fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And for such a small province, and Winnipeg is like, arguably a pretty small city. I just felt like the music scene was so rich, and I was getting to know people at Manitoba Music or Manitoba Film and Music. Like I was going to conferences, and I was just seeing like what a strong presence Manitoba had in like the national and international landscape, that I was like, damn, that place seems cool. And at the time I was a single mom, and there's just this moment in Calgary where I was like, I either have to give up my dreams of working in music because things were so expensive there, and I was like, or I'm going to have to do something different. So I moved to Winnipeg. That's not the only reason I moved here. It was also partly for love. Not to Tyler, but thanks to the past love to bring me to Tyler. Anyways, this is getting really long.
I'm here for it.
This is great. We want it.
So yeah, then I moved here. And I actually then I was like, I thought I could keep my Calgary band together. I was like, we could just do it long distance. That did not happen. Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's definitely my fault the Go for the Eyes broke up. But then I was like really itching to like get in a band, and I saw like Soul Hounds, who Go for the Eyes had played with while we were on tour before in the past. So I knew who they were, but I saw them be like, we need a lead singer. And I was like, well, I'm not a man, but I can sing like one. No, but they knew that that I had, different kind of vocals, but they were like, fuck yeah, like come on in. So then I joined Soul Hounds, and we started doing some stuff musically. And then at the same time, I was booking the stage at Pride Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. And then I got hired at Manitoba Music, and then that's where I met Claire, and we worked on some projects together, and we just had like a really good like work rapport. Mm-hmm. Like we're very yin and yang. Mm-hmm. Like and our skills and personalities are like balance each other out pretty well. Mm. And I loved my role at Manitoba Music. I did programmed a lot of the workshops and their conference, which it's called SWIM now, but it used to be called JMM for January Music Meeting. And so I started, that's where I really, really got to know about the music industry. Like, I don't know, I got hired for that job and I didn't know that much. I just faked it through the interview. No, you knew a lot. But no, I learned so much through that role. And I don't know, I just started seeing so many like gaps in terms of like support for artists. Like Manitoba Music has so much to do. There's like so many members. They have to like take care of the whole province. But I was like, man, there's not a lot for artists. Like the amount of talent that's here or like in Canada in general, and like support for talent at like an emerging level. It's like you kind of have to be like, pretty far ahead for anyone to pay attention. Right. And I was like, like that's brutal. So that was always in the back of my mind. Then the pandemic hit and I was like working from home, and I had nothing better to do with my extra time than to start like side hustling some management stuff. And my first like act that I was working with as a side hustle was Super Duty Tough Work. And then I started dabbling with a couple more artists and basically like was side hustling for about 6 months. And then I was like, this is actually so hard and busy. And I was just feeling like I needed to just do that. So then I put my notice in at Manitoba Music, and 2 weeks later I found out I was pregnant. So that was, I would not recommend starting a business and having a baby in the same year, but it can be done. Yeah. And then I did it for about 1.5 years, and it was good. I was like, wow, I'm actually, making the same as I would have if I stayed at the other job. So that's good, because that's what you want when you jump off a cliff. But I was like, we're not going to be able to grow without more support. And I kind of always like told Claire, is like, oh man, as soon as I can afford you, which is actually hilarious to say, because when she joined, I was like, I can't actually pay you, but I will give you half the company if you come along.
Right.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah. And to be fair, I was like, I'm coming on early. So
yeah, we knew it was going to happen eventually, but Claire's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just come now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And once Claire joins on, is it immediately a success and you're feeling like this is going really well? Yeah.
Living the dream.
We're going to retire next year.
Actually, we did. I think we doubled our revenue that year. Yeah. So
Nice.
it was like almost doubled. It was just under. And then I was like, well, that was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like when you're building a business, it can be really tough because on the front end, like it's going to be a big investment and a big risk, but like, you can't really grow without taking that risk. And it's the same for artists. Artists have to do exactly the same thing. They're very like precious about like holding on to their stuff, but it's like, I was like, you can have half of this thing that I started, because the reality is like, you can't grow without that kind of support.
Right.
And you could never actually pay for that kind of support at that level. You just have to take those risks, and it worked out.
Yeah. We needed to shake our lives up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. And so what are you guys' roles now? Like what's the split? What do you?
Well, we kind of, do we do everything? Like what don't we do? We actually just had a meeting right before this.
Yeah, fully. We just had a big debrief of where we're going with things.
Yeah, and we're like, I guess we should get together again next weekend. No. So we both manage artists, and primarily like I'm sort of heading up the label logistics, like how the label side is working, and Claire handles a lot more of like I guess the artist evolution and education side, which if you want to explain.
Yeah, well, I also see it like, again, with the whole yin and yang thing. Elise is very like forward thinking and building a lot of long-term future revenue, and then I'm like, well, I'm gonna just try to do what I can to like bring in money right now. So I do a lot more of the like interim sort of like, what kind of cash flow can we have right now to try and just make things a little bit more easier so that we can tide ourselves over until we get like a bigger paycheck. So yeah, I try to work a lot on our artist evolution program, which is like strategic meetings and sessions with artists who, are from Winnipeg or a lot from Western Canada. That was a big deal to Elise when she started the company, was like, there's not a lot of representation in Western Canada. There's not a lot of big cities where people get support. So yeah, we meet with clients every month to just help them along with their journey. There's a lot of different things we do with them. It really depends on what they need, and everyone's pretty unique in what they need or like how they like to work or what kind of support they need. I know Elise does a lot of like therapy kind of sessions. I haven't really done too many of those. Mine are more like, let's look at your timeline. Let's look at your budget. Like let's dig in. But
Elise is like, let's look at your feelings.
Yeah. How are you really feeling?
Yeah.
Let's like manage your expectations.
Yeah. So that's a really rewarding part of the job too. It can be anyway. Like if people, trust you, that's a big part of it, is building that trust with the artists you work with as well. So artist evolution is a very important part of the business to us. So yeah, that's mostly what I do. And then I'm taking on like multiple contracts too. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm doing something with the Folk Fest right now. And because events are more my thing too. And, it's been a big learning process being in this company too, where I'm like, I don't feel like I can do a lot of management. I can work with maybe one person, but that's not going to bring in the money that we need. So
Right.
what are my skills? And I do a lot of like event planning and spreadsheets, and I love just organizing things and seeing it kind of all come out and then having like a bit of an end date, which in management, you don't have that.
There's no end date.
There's no end date.
Yeah.
No, you can't strike the last thing off your to-do list. So,
Right.
but yeah, so that's kind of
Well, we might
what I handle.
my friend Tyson Wagner, shout out, and I are organizing a music festival
Wow.
in August.
Huge.
So, I don't know. We
Have you announced this yet? Is this going to be your announcement?
Have we?
You gonna cut this?
I've brought it up on the pod a few times, being like,
Okay.
we might do this crazy thing, and then I'm not sure if I actually confirmed it yet, but
It's happening.
it's happening. It's August
Wah, wah, wah.
21st to 23rd, and we don't have a name for it yet, though. Too.
Oh, that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah, we might
No, it's
need
not.
some help
Call it
with Misfest.
Misfest. Yeah. All the mistakes that you can have.
When you're doing artist evolution working with the artists, what's the biggest thing you see often where you're like, we need to change this, or this is something we can work on?
I think it's expectations a lot of
Yeah.
the time, you know, and sometimes we see people thinking that they're going to achieve certain things in such a short amount of time. And we're like, well, we've worked with some artists for years and they haven't even got to that number that you want to do, and you just started. Like, that's something I see a lot. And like, honestly, I don't blame them. Like, I like that they're hopeful and have those goals and want to try really hard to get there. But yeah, it's that's one of the bigger things.
Yeah.
As Elise mentioned, the
I would
expectations.
agree. Yeah, it's like, and it's fine to have like big goals, but it's better to have achievable goals, because if your goals are too unrealistic, then you're just going to get burnt out. And,
Right,
you know,
right.
I've been like, we both come from artist backgrounds. Like, we've both like worked on our own projects. So we know how that feels inside. Like, when I was in bands, I used to be like, fuck that. Like, why didn't I get into that festival? That's bullshit. And like, I don't know, or like, oh, why aren't we getting more followers or this or that? And like, it would really just like eat at me, and I would take it personally.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then I don't know, you just get like really bitter about it, and you kind of forget like why you started doing it in the first place. And really, like, the music industry is fucking hard. Like, it is so hard. And, you know, you could do all the right things, and you can meet all the right people. You could, I know people who've had major label deals and had all the investment and had everything that you could ever want. And it could still not happen for you, because we don't control the audience, you know?
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen. So if you're not having fun, and if you're not showing up and just like, you know, thinking, wow, this is awesome that I get to be in a room with my bandmates and just like play music, or like, if you're doing it for numbers, if you're doing it for this like timeline that you put there that exists only because you put it there, and if you're creating all of these expectations for yourself and these goals that are, you know, these goals are like, you know, you don't, if your goal is to get 100,000 like TikTok followers like in a year, I mean, you need something to go viral, and that is like, you know, you're playing the lottery.
Right,
So a lot of, I think what we do is like, okay, instead of playing the lottery, what do we have control of here?
Right.
And like, you know, that's not a bad goal to have, but like, that's probably not going to happen in a year. And if you want to get to this goal that you have, like, let's put that like a little bit into the future, and let's like work our way backwards. Like,
Right.
what do you think it's going to take to get that? And like, how do you think these people are going to follow you? And then sometimes people's goals also don't align with their values. And so that's another thing that we will do, is like a realignment of like, okay, like, you want to get on the radio, but like, no one from your target audience, like, we've determined who these types of people are now, because that's what I do, but they don't even listen to the fucking radio. So why is that your goal?
Right.
So there's a lot of the sort of inner work that we do.
Yeah.
Totally. And a lot of people, when they join, and I don't blame them, they're like, I want to make this a sustainable business in the next 5 years. That's like, well, don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
Try to make it work, with your day job. And that's a big reality too, is a lot of people need more than just music to make it by. Like it's just one of those things too. And I would love to be like, yes, you'll be on the road all the time. It's a reality though.
We'd love to be like, let me make 5 phone calls and you'll be a star.
Yeah.
Like how they just make it look in Hollywood. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you.
That new sound you've been looking for.
I got it.
Yeah.
So you're talking about things that you can control and focusing on that. What are those things? How do you make them better?
Damn, it's a good question.
Yeah. Wow. Deep. I guess like the things that you can, well, to me, the first thing that you can control is the way that you can relate with and communicate with an audience. That's number one. And I think, if you're making music for yourself, fucking great. But like, if you want to make music for the masses, right? Or if you want the masses to engage with it, well, who are they? Who are the masses? Who are those people? And like, what is it that they want? Why do they want your music? Why do they relate with you? Out of all the many artists that are out there, like what makes you special? And out of what makes you special, how are you going to communicate that to that audience? So that is like one thing that you can control, is how you communicate that. And then also your expectations, right? Like you only get frustrated when you have created all these expectations that you're not meeting for yourself. So instead of a goal being like, I want 100,000 followers on TikTok, maybe your goal is like, I'm going to post something I create on TikTok every single day.
Yeah.
Right? Reframing it. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you can reframe. And then you can control like how you show up in community. I think that's like really important now. Like with technology and AI and all the things that everyone's talking about. You can't really control. You can't be like how are we going to compete with AI? You can't compete with AI, but you can be different than it, know, and how you show up in community and how you work together with other people, like that, that is special and unique to like, the human existence and to art as a human. And yeah, like you can control your own creativity. Because I think sometimes there are artists that are doing all those things and posting on TikTok every day and blah, 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 blah. But they're also not taking feedback on their creative, and they're not necessarily getting better at it or like evolving in their art, or like, collaborating with people who are different than them, like, so I think that's another thing is you can control what it is that you're putting out there, and you can control like getting better at your craft.
Yeah. I think that is the biggest thing ultimately. Right?
That is the biggest thing. And also the second biggest thing is realizing that part of your craft is how you connect to fans.
Right.
That's part of the creative. It's just as important as the music.
100%.
Yeah, it's not just like, I'm going to make this weird stuff because I think it's dope. It's like, okay, that is dope.
Yeah.
But, you maybe don't be shocked when you don't have 100,000 on TikTok. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like you can make, that's the thing. It's like, you have to decide. It's like, there does come a point where it's like, if you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do, that's cool. But then you can't like complain. Or if you're like, I just want to make music and the music should speak for itself. Cool. I hope people hear you through the walls of your basement. Like, you know, and I used to think that was possible when I was 12 years old sitting at my piano. Like, but yeah, that's it. And it's totally like, I think one of the first questions that we have when we're first like starting to work with an artist is like, what is your definition of success? Because that's, then the rest of what we tell them about is sort of like based around that.
Something I try to do, and it's very hard, is just to help people build new habits with their organizational skills, which is, you know, it's not even second nature to a lot of artists. But that can be a really hard thing to shift. And sometimes these sessions also pose as like an accountability thing as well, where it's like, we give them homework, we give them things to think about, and then they come back and they tell us what they've done. And sometimes it really works for some people. And then some people also find that overwhelming. And it's like, you know, we're going to be some of the first people you work with. Like, you know, this is what it's like to work with a team who are trying to help you, and you're getting in your own way. Like that happens a lot with people who may not be ready. There's just so much logistical stuff involved too, which is huge. And like, and also working on your craft, you know, and getting better, trying to get better all the time. And we talk a lot about stage performance as well and how important that is. Like Elise is very passionate about that kind of work too. Yeah. Those are just my little tidbits thrown in there, but.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like the organizational side, which I'm not as good. Like that is where I need someone like Claire, because everything would just, it's like,
it's not fun.
No. And not everyone's good at it, but if you're not good at it, then you should pay someone to do it. Right. It's
find a way. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. That's a good point too, about like the accountability piece and getting used to sort of working with a team, because there's a lot of artists who come to us and are like, I need a manager. And I'm always like, why? Because I think a lot of people think that a manager is going to come in and take everything off your plate, and that they're going to do like admin and organizational things. And there's like obviously a little bit of that, but that's not what managers do. What managers do is they scale your business. So if you don't have a business to scale, you don't need a manager. And then like the thing is, if you have a manager or you have a record label or you have an agent, these are all mostly like commission-based roles, although I think that is starting to shift a little bit with the economics of the industry, and should. But if they own a stake like in your business and you have a meeting with them and they're like, hey, you're going to do A, B, C, D, and E. And you're like, yep. And then you come back the next month and you haven't done those things, then they're not going to want to work with you. Right. When where they have it, like at the artist evolution level, where we're the first kind of like experience with that. It's like, sometimes I have artists that will email me like, you know, a day before their meeting, and they're like, oh, I didn't do this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't have a stake in your business. So that's cool. Let's talk about why, and we'll like figure out, you know, how to fix that. But it is a really good way for people to get used to that, because the reality is like, once you start building a team, like they're not going to accept that, you know, and you have to learn how to be accountable, for what it is that you do. And the other thing is, just to be clear about management, is if you ask anyone who I've managed if they had less work or more work, they would say more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because your business will be growing, and and you will have more to do.
And the manager's keeping you.
Like every day I'm like, oh, can you update me on this thing? Oh, hi. Just back with this other thing. Anyone who I manage, they hear from me probably every day. And probably every time they get a notification and they see my name, they're like, oh, fuck.
Right.
Yeah. We talk a lot about it being like marriage and like a really close relationship. And that's kind of what it becomes. And you go through your ups and downs. It's wild. And something I think about more and more lately is when like with these contract jobs that I do, and I work with other, sometimes other management companies and labels where they work with, different artists or like larger scale artists. You see more behind the scenes on what they're dealing with too. And it's like, they're kind of dealing with similar things, but just like at a higher level where it's like, there's also more at stake. So they have to work even harder. Like if they're getting a certain amount of income, there are some people on their team who, if they go below that, they won't want to work with them anymore. So it's like, it's kind of wild how you're just always going to have to work your ass off.
Yeah. Also, the bigger the artist, the bigger the team, and the less of the pie that they have. Like it's all like, if an artist is grossing an artist who grosses $1 million a year is probably not taking home that much money.
No, not
because
at
an
all.
artist who's grossing that much money has like a pretty big team to make that happen. So like that's so it's an interesting scale.
Yeah,
Like
you might be making $200,000 a year when you're like, why am I making $1 million? Where's that going? Anyway.
Because what would the team look like in a situation like that?
Oh, for like a million?
Yeah.
Annually? Well, I don't work with that yet, but but I can tell you from like I guess I've seen like closer maybe like getting there eventually soonish, I don't know, with grants and stuff, but I guess I would say like, for a Canadian, like let's call them the working class musician, right? Like they're making like a livable wage. Maybe not quite comfortable. Like they're still sort of like, oh shit, like I really need to like know what's coming up. But but they're making a living. They don't have another job. But they probably have a manager, record label. They probably have a few agents because they would have them in different territories, like North American, European. And then also like for Europe, you have like usually one main one and then promoters in different countries that like handle that country. So you might have like, a handful of people in the live world working for you on touring. You would have publicists in different markets for like your release.
Different people working with you on marketing all the time, like social media people working with you, lawyers, or a lawyer, your accountant, all that stuff too. Like they're just as important to your team in ways too, like don't want to fudge those numbers now.
Then you have ad managers, content creators, like, and all of those people are coming in often throughout the year, and they all need to make so you can see how the money can very quickly, dissipate.
And we see this a lot too with artists who are more emerging or getting to this like export ready level where they may get an agent and it's really awesome, but they feel neglected because they aren't making enough money yet. And I've seen this a lot too, where people are frustrated because they're like, my agent doesn't pay any attention to me. And it's like, because they're off, with the people who they're already making money for.
Right.
So it's a battle. But there's just so many different stages. And the thing is too, is something that we talk a lot about as well, is like, especially in some ways, how the grants systems work, where they really want to see results. A lot of people, I think, kind of go for deals that just seem okay, like at the moment, where they're not even sure it's a good fit. And that's something that is kind of a big struggle too. And I've been there. One of my bands like joined the first record label that, we were offered a contract with. And it didn't work out well at all, There's just so many factors. So many factors.
Yeah. That's one thing that I've seen too is like artists want to work with like these sort of bigger team members, or they want like, a bigger label, or like an agent who books this act or whatever. But like if that person is working with like artists at sort of who are making more money. Like this is a music business, right? Like we live in capitalism and it's called a music business. Like it's about money. So like oftentimes if you're working with, and not all the time, but what I see a lot of is like artists who are, they want the, manager with like more under their belt, or they want the label that's going to like invest $50,000 in them, which by the way is a recoupable expense and it's just a loan.
Right.
They're not giving you that money. Yeah. But they would rather, and it looks great in the moment, but what often happens is like they're not going to give you like the blood, sweat, and tears of like the little guys like us, right? Like, and for us, it's like when we work, if we're signing an artist on like a management or label side, like we have like everything is invested in that, right? So it's like we might not have like the money, but that's going to be the most important artist that we're working with at that time. So that's always an interesting like concept to sort of like share with artists, where sometimes it's good to work with people who have less experience, who are like passionate, and that could also like be your friend. Like like if you think about like what record labels do, even it's like about marketing, it's about like connecting your music to fans. It's like if you've got a friend who's like really passionate and has like gift of the gab and is like good at like marketing and making content, like hire your friend and go through a distributor. Like
right.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's it.
Totally agree.
What happened with your guys' record label deals that it went south?
Well, we haven't had any that. Oh, like ours as artists. As artists. So like, oh God. Well,
I can go. Mine's very minor. I don't know. Yeah. We just didn't understand the industry at all. We're a baby band, super baby band. And this was maybe like one of our first shows where we were approached by someone, and we didn't really understand how it worked. We didn't know how much money he was investing in us. Like through our whole time of being on this label, we didn't see a single report. So we had no idea like what our sales were. We didn't know where like our physical distribution was. I'd go to McNally's and I'd be like, oh, my CD is here. It's like, and for it being local. And anyways, we just had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. And eventually, we heard that we owed this guy money, and we're like, what? Like we haven't seen anything. And he didn't have proof, which was weird too. And we're like, and it got really strained. And I like stepped in and I was like, look, dude, like, unless you can show us what money we owe you, like, I'm not going to pay you anything. Anyways, it's tragic because he actually died like a few years ago, and his son was going to take over his label, who was like maybe 20. And I was like, I don't want this kid like handling our shit. So we kind of got out of it, and it was, we're very lucky that it wasn't like, we had to pay back so much money. Like it was a good learning experience. Like luckily we didn't have to deal with too much on the payback side, or we aren't in terrible debt from something like that, but it was huge learning experience for sure. So
I paid my label $7,000 which was supposed to cover the recording, which I did record it, and then the label owner made a pass at me, and I didn't go for it, and my record never came out.
Wow.
Yep.
That was me as a solo artist. That was like my first foray into the music industry. Yeah.
That stuff
So
exists all the time.
Yeah.
It's very
Good introduction.
So don't pay your label the money, if like pay the people that they hire maybe directly, so you can collect your masters and like also didn't know anything. Like I don't even know, like I probably have that like contract somewhere in a hole, but like I don't know if I paid that $7,000 and then was like, and this was a long time ago, that 7 would have gone far. But like I don't even know if I like paid that money for my recordings and if like that label claimed ownership over my masters. Like I had no fucking idea. Like, so yeah, who knows? Maybe it's good that it didn't come out. What if it was a huge hit and I didn't own my masters?
Yeah.
That would have been more painful.
Oh, totally. And that's the thing. Like, again, with media, it's like, I want to be on a label. It's going to give me so much clout. And if you don't understand where you're signing, like, it's like, I feel very lucky that I didn't, like, I actually don't think we even signed it, which is weird. Years later, I looked and I was like, I don't think we even signed this. Oh, it's
just
wild.
It was just a verbal agreement.
I was like, I can't find a single signed copy anywhere. But again, I was also not very organized. But a lot of people just think that that's like a very necessary step and want to accept the first thing that comes their way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like labels aren't bad. Like I know people are always like, oh, I want to like own my masters, and yeah, that's good, fine. Like if you're, you know, you can own your masters, but like if the label's paying for it, they're probably gonna own it. But like, it's not bad to have a larger pie that you take a lesser piece of. Mm-hmm. It's just bad if you don't know like who it is you're working with, and like if they're not aligned, like in every way, like in values and in like what's the vision. Like ask them like, what do you think you can do for me, right?
What are you doing with this pie exactly?
Yeah, like how are you gonna make the pie even? Like where are you getting your frickin' berries from? Like I don't know. So yeah, it's like it's not like you don't necessarily need one, but you also don't necessarily not need one. It's just like any team though. It's like, how are you gonna work together to reach that goal? What is the goal? And what's the strategy to reach that goal? And then, yeah, I mean, like having, like knowing what it is, like reading. I think I was like, oh my God, a record deal.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
and it's, you just don't know what you're getting into. And I'll also say this, like in terms of those like bigger label deals where they give you lots of money, from my experience, I have seen way more that have not worked out than the ones that did. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the reality is that like, you know, it's great to have label investment. Like, I mean, I managed a band that had that and I was like, fucking great. We can make videos. We can do this. We can do that. But at the end of the day, if your music doesn't make back that money, they're going to own your masters until it does. So like, that's the thing. Like you can take that money. It seems like shiny and you're like, yay, I get to do this. And you know what, if that's your way to make music, then, and you wouldn't be able to record it otherwise, like great, then do it if that's all you want to do. But like, no amount of money is free. Right. Not even grant money. And you have to know like what strings are attached. And I have worked with more artists that can't get out of label or publishing deals than artists who can. Yeah.
Because is that pretty common practice that they'll give you a large upfront sum, and then if you can't pay it back, they still own the masters until you do? Or is
that is the practice? The practice is if it's a loan, an advance is, it's like they're giving you an advance, they're investing in that, but it's called a recoupable expense. So if they're like, yeah, we'll put $25,000 towards marketing, and they do, but your record doesn't make $25,000 back on that marketing, like basically every royalty you make or every record you sell, that money is going to first go to the label. And then once they've recouped all of their expenses back to like, once they're at zero, then, I mean, generally, like they want to make money. So they're going to guess how many years that's going to take. Right. And if they think that's going to take like 10 years, they're going to try to sign you for 20. Because then they want to actually make some money. Why would they work for you for 10 years for no money?
Yeah.
Right.
Just to get paid back their original money. Yeah.
It doesn't make, like, that wouldn't make sense. So like, yeah, I mean, I think artists have to understand that like no one is signing you because they love your music so much. They're signing you because they believe it can make money.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm sure they love it so much because they believe in it, but like no one is working in this industry. Like, I mean, we're not working in it for the money. That's for damn sure. But also it's like people are taking risks because they think that those risks will have like a financial reward. It's a business, right? So you always have to know, what are those strings attached, and like understand that. Yeah. Also, like, I probably could have like gone after my money in those recordings with what happened to me, but it's also like, who wants to fucking deal with that?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what's going to be your hill to die on with
Yeah.
that kind of stuff too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So know who you're working with.
Yeah. And know your business too. Like, really, it's funny how people just want to put their business in other people's hands right away, and because they're scared. I get it. Like, they don't know how to do a lot of these things, and it can be hard to keep track of all these things. But it's really important to know, where your money's going, how royalties work, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you go to Manitoba Music to get that info.
That's why we have music industry associations.
Yeah. Very lucky. There's like Manitoba, like arguably has the strongest industry association in the country.
They just won an award.
Oh, nice.
They won the Women in Music Canada.
See,
I
there
think
you
they
go.
won that. I saw Vanessa making a speech. So
Okay. Yeah. So like there's lots of ways. I mean, there's lots of online resources too. And honestly, like now with AI and stuff, you can just go onto like Gemini or ChatGPT and like break things down. What does this mean?
Yeah.
So actually I've literally done this with like contracts that I'm reading where I like don't understand the line, but I'll like copy and paste it and I'll be like, can you explain this to me as if you were explaining it to a 6-year-old? And then it'll like do this like teddy bear comparison. I'm like, oh, I totally get it now. Yes. But it is so important to know that, to know like your various revenue streams. And yeah, I think every artist should, do that work in managing their business like pretty hard before they bring on a manager.
Because then they'll also understand then how much behind the scenes work your manager is doing for you.
Yeah.
As well.
Right.
You'll also understand if they're not doing their job,
Yeah.
right? Because you'll be like, well, this was getting taken care of when I did it. But
True.
Yeah.
That's big.
yeah. And like, I do think it's funny when because Claire was like the manager artist relationship. Like we say this and you already said it, but it's very close to marriage. Like it's really, but like, so don't go up to someone you've never met or like known, or like if you haven't known them for a long time or whatever and be like, hey, I need a manager. Like, I think I need a manager. Do you want to be my manager? That is like going up to someone in a bar and asking to have a baby with them immediately.
That's
fucking weird.
that's how they did in the 1800s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Milady,
Yeah.
I want your hand in
I will
marriage.
sell
That's
you this
true.
pig.
That is true. That is like, if it was the 1800s, totally, you can do that. But yeah. I forgot about the 1800s.
Something I also wanted to mention on the topic of AI too, it can become like, as an artist, like try not to rely on it too much as you're starting out too, because it can become a bit of a slippery slope. I mean, sometimes I feel like, oh, I probably could have just spent 5 more minutes thinking about this. And I don't like that. I sometimes think like, oh, it's just going to be a lot easier if I just like quickly do this little thing through AI. But like, I don't like that that's happening. I'm trying to like stop that from happening more. But like often I just see so many things that are written that are AI. And I'm like, this is like, did you use AI? Because like, what does this sentence actually say? Like a lot of the times, like with bios and things like that, I'll go
seen
in.
that a few
I'll
times
go in and
with
be
the
like, what
band
does that
bios,
actually mean? And then they can't answer it.
It was like X
wrote
band
it.
is a dynamic band with engaging live performances. I'm like, what the
I'm trying to think. They all have the same filler words.
Tapestry.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I had a list in my head, but it's just so noticeable.
Yeah.
And you're not yeah, you're not going to fool people. And I get that weird, like sort of visceral reaction now when I see an M dash.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, when have you ever used this?
Yeah.
You got to take those out.
I couldn't. Can you even? Is it on the keyboard anywhere? I don't know.
I mean, people who probably
Yes.
used
You can.
M dashes are probably pissed that they can't use them as much anymore now.
true.
Probably.
You have to, if you go, I think it's if you go dash
Yeah.
space, it turns it into that.
Okay.
You could also, okay, no, I'm not going to share my trick.
You could also say, don't generate with M dashes.
Exactly.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, it's
You're welcome.
yeah, but still, like, you need that creativity in your writing. So, like, please don't
Yeah.
rely on AI as your start. Like, use it as a little tool if you want things broken down for you. That's important. Contracts,
like-
things like that.
You're a goddamn artist. Write a bio.
Yeah,
Be creative.
or
Yeah.
work with someone who does that, who's very creative and has that talent. But
Actually, I was just telling Claire tonight that like I've been on this like deep dive of podcasts. Do you ever listen to Diary of a CEO?
Yes. I was into
So good.
several. Yeah.
But I've been particularly with that one and other ones on a deep dive about like AI and algorithms and like, you know, how all of this like technology is affecting us. But particularly AI is like a massive topic. But like I just listened to an episode recently that was just warning people about like the effects on the brain. Like when you're not like thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
And like you said, like you're an artist. Like if you can't creatively write your bio, and like also I just want to say totally different for artists who have like a language barrier. That's like if English isn't your first language and you have to write a bio about your music in English, like use AI, like and just get a friend to help you make it, take the M dashes out at the very least. But for, you know, if you're writing a bio in your own language and you also happen to be writing your own lyrics, it's like just be creative about it. Just like take the time and like, you know, really think about like the why and like
there's
explain that.
such a sense of urgency, and I feel that too. But yeah, it's slow down a little bit.
Yeah. And just like let your brain work a little.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to become mush otherwise. And like, then AI really will take over because, I mean, it's probably going to be smarter anyway soon. But anyway, we won't get into that, that doomsday conversation right now.
It's going to spiral.
So just with the bio, it's like your personality should be shining through just like it does in the music, right? Like I don't want like an executive's write-up of your band necessarily. Like like it should reflect the vibe of what you're doing, you know.
It should reflect the brand, right?
Yeah.
Also, fun tip, you should have different bios for different things.
Yeah.
Like the bio on your or on your like Spotify, or like a streaming site where there might be someone who like stumbles across your song, is like, who's this artist? And they scroll down. That bio is for a fan. You know, that bio is like, that fan probably doesn't care about your WCMA nomination. They don't know what a WCMA is.
Right.
They don't care about your local shit. It doesn't matter. That person cares about like who you are and what you represent. Like, what is your story?
Yeah.
You know, what are they going to read that and like want to dive deeper? Right. So that's that bio. But then like, I would say like your website is, I don't really think fans are going to websites that much.
No.
Really. Like that's probably going to be your more businessy one. That's where you're going to be like, oh, I want this and that, blah, blah, blah.
I've gone to so many sites now doing this podcast, right? But like before that, I would never visit an artist site ever.
No.
But actually, I was going to ask this. At what point should you get a website as an artist?
I mean, I question every day whether our artists actually need it.
Right.
Like even when I'm pitching like Kim Mortal, for example, I'm not like hyperlinking Kim's website. I'm hyperlinking their Instagram because it's more impressive and it shows more of who they are. I think because there's a link in bio thing, you know, like
Like Linktree.
Linktree.
That's pretty much your website at this point.
Yeah. I
Can be.
don't know. Like, unless I think maybe,
Depends on who your audience is too.
yeah. Or if you're like a producer and you're like doing more of like a professional like services thing, or like, yeah, I mean, if you're like a cover band and you're doing like weddings and shit, like you might need a website.
But like an older demographic who may not be on social media, maybe they like Facebook and going to your website. You know, it's like a cool virtual destination kind of thing. I see it, but like I know quite a few artists that don't have websites and they're doing fine.
Yeah, and this is why the first thing every artist should go like think through in like depth is like, who's your audience? Who's your audience? And I'm not talking like men and women between the ages of 16 and 60. Like, exactly. That is not a demographic. Like that is like really think about like, like how are they engaging with music? Like what platforms do they use? Like where do they get their information from? You know,
some like we do a lot of this like super fan profile stuff, but I also like to say like, hey, look at the profiles of the people who are following you. That's easy access right there.
Right.
And then just like, it's a little creepy, sure. Like, you know, how often are you hanging out with your friends at the club and, you know, doing this, like, you kind of feel like a bit of a hacker, but it's there. Like, take the information, make some spreadsheets about it, like collect that data.
Yeah.
And then how would you use that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, okay, let me ask you, because you're an artist. So for the kind of people who would like listen to your music, right? If you're like thinking about active listeners, how do you think they discover music? Like, what are like the few things? Where do they discover music?
Spotify. And I guess Instagram, but I think less so. I think most music discovery just comes from and actually just festivals and live stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that already signals to me like you don't need to pay a radio plugger like $10,000 an album cycle to like pitch to commercial radio, because your audience isn't listening to that.
Right.
A priority for you would be to keep playing shows in the live market, if that's how you think that they're, and also, I mean, probably word of mouth would be another, like, because I've heard your music. It's like, I feel like that, you know, that would connect with people who are like, oh man, you should check out this band, right?
Yeah.
So that's also like where direct to fan would come in play, and like having, you know, talking points and like really cool merch so that they would like use it every day, and people would be like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's a sick band, right? And then, you know, for Spotify, like you might want to like get a list of playlist curators and try to get on there. You might want to learn a little bit more about algorithms and how they work and how you can make that work for you when you have a release. And then, you know, if they're mostly finding things on Instagram and you don't think they're engaging with TikTok as much, then you mostly focus on making Instagram fucking great and like learning all the tools that Instagram has and like how are people engaging there. You can't be perfect at everything, right? So just knowing that, like that's one question. Where do people discover your music? And that already gives you a bunch of answers about like how to like focus and like prioritize your time. And whether or not, and like big investments, like there, you know, you can pay someone to do playlist pitching for you. You can pay them the same amount of money that you would pay a radio plugger, and you're like, oh, which one do we choose? Well, just that answer in and of itself, that helps you make that decision. Yeah. So that's one question, but there's other things. Like I worked with an artist, and this one is like one of my favorite ones, but we actually like, we break down people's like personalities. Like, you know, we have like our 3 super fans and we basically make a whole character, but one of her characters, we were like, what are what are some of her greatest concerns like in life? Like what is challenging for her? And it's like this girl who loves, you know, going out on the town and like engaging with art and like going to shows and going to restaurants, but like safety is a really big concern for her. And we were like, okay, so how does that, like, why do we write that in there? Well, we wrote that in there because when this artist tours, she needs to think about the venues that she's playing in. And is it going to be dark when most of her female fans are like getting out of their cars and walking? Maybe she should at her shows have like a safe walk to your car person. And like, that's a way that fans feel taken care of and like seen by you. So even like thinking about like those little challenges that your biggest fans might have, or like, you know, on the flip side, if you're like, I actually think most of my fans are like middle-aged, like they're probably between the ages of like 35 and 50. I'm like, okay, that's where I am. I know how hard it is to get out the door and like feed my kids and like have dinner and get to a show and do all of these things. Like a night out is a really big deal and it's expensive. And it's like, so, you know, and I also know like I don't want to go to a divey bar and like see a show at midnight anymore. Like I had that time in my life. I want to have dinner and I want to see a show and I want to be home by 10. Yeah. So that signals what venue do I play in? What time is my show? And hey, maybe I should do a partnership with the restaurant next door where people can get like dinner and tickets, like a special night out. And I'll just make sure that like all these people have kids, they get the babysitter, they know they can get dinner. There's a special on, they have like a drink named after me, blah, blah, blah. And it's like a whole thing. Yeah, and then they just go next door. Right. So yeah, you create like experiences and like little things that target those like specific people.
Really interesting.
Chip away at it. Yeah.
Like you create like a very specific, like this is who is coming to the show. And then you're like, okay, like what are the creative ways we can like target this? You know?
And it doesn't mean that people who sit outside that demographic aren't showing up.
Right.
But when you pick really meaningful moments and create experiences for the people who are engaging the most with you or who you think are going to engage the most, then that's really like the difference between success and just like running the wheel all the time.
Yeah. I don't know why this popped into my head, but I really respected the heck out of this sort of tour that Ace did, where he like engaged with a lot of local people in areas. Did like, I don't know if it wasn't really a contest, but it was like, if you're interested in playing on my tour, like write me a message or get in contact. And like, it was a very exciting thing. Like he knows his demographic are people who, because he's a very unique artist. I mean, you know, a lot of, you can say that about anyone, but part of his values is like reaching people in these not as popular areas. So like, how are you going to do that? It's like bring in those people to be a part of the experience too.
From like rural communities. And like people,
thought that was so cool.
Yeah. It was like artists who probably wouldn't have the opportunity to like open for a Juno winning artist ever because of where they live. And
but then you're also getting those fans who like are already so into that local artist, you know, and just thinking about those little things. And like a lot of people just want a lot of fans right away, but think about these smaller, like think about the individual experience a bit, and those people are going to rave to their friends about it, and it just builds from there. Brass tacks. Bring it up.
Yeah. What are some advice for musicians? I got a few notes here, but let's start with social media. What's the big thing that you see? You see a lot of artists on Instagram. You're like, what's a thing you're seeing a lot where you're like, this needs to be improved?
The quality of the videos. That's a big thing. I know. The tools just like that you use, the equipment sometimes matters a lot too. Something that was discussed a lot at this conference I was just at was like, if you don't have a good sound quality, like people are just gonna like go right past. Like little, like they might seem little, but those things are important too. as if you're talking technically,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I think content wise, like leading with a hook, like it's actually not that hard, because like if you think about when you're scrolling, like what really catches your attention, like there's a difference between like, hey guys, my name's Elise Roller, and okay, I'm just like so excited about, okay, already someone's like, fuck this bitch, you know? But if you lead with like, you know, let me share a little secret about how, I don't know. I don't even know. I have no secrets, but if
That already, I'm so locked in. I want to hear it. Yeah.
You know? But like, that's just it. It's like start. And actually it's really interesting because I do like a lot of content scripting for some artists that I do more like creative marketing with that kind of thing. And sometimes an artist will, you know, I'll look at something they've already posted, and the last line that they've used in their copy, I'm like, that should have been your first line, and it should have been you on a video with captions.
Right.
And the other, like they people want to see your face. Like they don't want to see like a still image of a tree. Like they don't want to see that unless you're like a photographer and it's like the best image of a tree ever. And that's but like, you know, they want to see you. They want to know you, and they want to like, it's like if you lead with like that hook, like, let me tell you about the time that a song saved me from myself or something. And then you talk about your song that you wrote and how it like got you through a time, you know? It's like you've already led them in and you've already given them that like emotional perspective. Now they fucking care. And now they're going to listen to the rest. And then you know what? They actually might leave the platform to go listen to it after. So that's like, I would say like that is just like the number one biggest piece. And really it just takes kind of stepping outside of like your excitement to, and not just the excitement to share on. I think not everyone's excited to share on social media. I think people feel obligated. It's like a chore. So if you can like think of social media as being like just as creative as a song itself. And you know, like think about how many times you go back to your song lyrics before you're like, okay, I think I'm happy with this. Even sometimes you record them and you're like, fuck, I could have done better. But like, you know, you go back to it and you kind of like fine tune it. And it's like, realistically, like that's what you should be doing with your content.
That's what I've been, like, that's how I feel about the clips for the podcast. Like I've been really just like, ooh, I want to make it good. And then like I'm in the last like few weeks, I've developed some like new techniques of like how I'm doing stuff. And like the first few ones I finished out like that, I'm like, oh, this is fucking good. Let's go. Like it's
you pick good
cool
moments. I get hooked by a lot of the stuff that you post for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's, you're doing a great job. Bang up job.
Thank you.
I also think like lots of movement, like quick cuts too. Like if you don't have, you know, if you don't have a lot, or you're like throwing B-roll in, or like, I don't know, let's say you're like, I don't know what moment to pick of like this interview. If you just have like just random like funny words, you know, being thrown at like, but I think if you can like just get good at editing.
That's a big thing too.
Yeah. And
timing.
Yeah, like the timing of things, and it doesn't always have to be like like you can just make it amazing. Like the tools are at your fingertips. And I know that that's all time consuming, and like it's easy for me to say because I tell everyone to do it. I don't actually do it, but like but I do think that's part of your, like, if you want to connect with an audience, that's got to be part of your brand. Like that's part of, like, your music is just, it's like one, actually, I got to give credit. This is like what, you know, David Click Cox. Yeah. He's like a pal out in Toronto. He does similar work to us too, like the artist development stuff. But he said, your music is just an extension of your brand.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Like you're the brand.
Yeah.
Your music is just an extension of your brand. It isn't the brand. Your music is not, it's not it. Like, so just think of it as one extension of like how you're communicating to your consumers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On Instagram, because the clips and the posts and everything are for your existing audience. It's also for people not in your audience for discovery. What's the balance there, and how does that change what you're doing?
Well, I think that there's other direct to fan. Like, I think if it's a public thing like Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, like I would always think of it as like some random person's going to stumble upon this, and I need to make sure that like they can easily look at the things on here and like kind of understand who I am. The thing I really like about Instagram is like the feed is like, that's kind of where you want it to like not be too cluttery. It's sort of like, that's the first thing people see, but your reels, you can have like a few more, and stories, you can do whatever the hell you want. And like, you got the highlight buttons. Like, I think using all of those to like, connect dots between like first time viewers to, the people who are actually like your stories, that's the people who are following you already, right? Reels, that might actually hit somebody that isn't already following you. So I think very deeply about reels being more engaging to someone who doesn't already know who you are.
100%. Yeah, I think a lot of people who have kind of mastered or like gotten really good at reels don't really do as much with their stories. They like, it's more like info and just reposting things that are already on their feed and things like that too. Yeah. So I think a lot of people still think that stories are the way to reach, but it's like, no, actually people don't see that when they don't know who you are. So yeah, it's interesting.
Sometimes they do. Like, this was super early on when I had like I think less than 200 follows on the podcast account. The guitarist for Alice Cooper liked one of my stories.
What? But what did you do with that?
And it was just me posting Olivia Lunny's song. It was like a pop artist.
Did Olivia repost it?
She DM'd me with like a heart or whatever, but she didn't repost it.
Oh, Olivia, what the hell? We know her.
Yeah.
Actually, that's funny. When I worked in Manitoba Music, she was in one of the song camps that I did.
Oh yeah.
She's awesome. She's so talented. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give her heck for you. I got her number. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
how he came across it. That was, or it could have been
the world works in mysterious
whoever
ways.
runs his account. I don't know.
Sometimes I go down a wormhole too. No. But yeah, I think that there's like, I actually think now more than ever, it's also important to think of other ways to like communicate with your like fans, like collect their email addresses and have a fun newsletter. Like, it's so important. It's so important. Like, have it at your merch table, like find creative ways to like bring people in, because like I've seen so many. Actually, we have a friend who's Sierra Noble had both their Facebook and their Instagram accounts hacked with like 30,000+ followers on each, and like couldn't get them back. And then it's like, how the fuck do you communicate then? Right. So that's really important. And then there's other, like right now we're starting to dive into this platform called Lalo. And that one is like, it's like you just do random things. Like, I don't know. That's like for the people who are like, want to have like basically a personal relationship with the artist, like they want to know more. So I think you can use different platforms for different things for like the way they function. I also think that like YouTube shorts like need to be used more by artists. I'm like, you're posting that on your Instagram reel already. Post it on your
yeah.
But you have to get, even like the artists I work with, I'm always like, okay, yeah, post this on both those things. But like, because it's not part of your rhythm, and YouTube doesn't seem to be like a daily I don't know, like a daily, what is the word I'm looking for? Task? I don't know. We open our Instagram account every day
Right,
to
right.
go through it.
It depends.
Yeah.
Like I go on YouTube.
I go on YouTube every day, but I don't know if that's just because I'm old. But like,
yeah,
like YouTube Shorts for musicians is like people aren't using it enough, and YouTube is still like the number one discovery platform.
Yeah.
I also think I actually attended this really cool webinar recently about like just to get a refresher on, you know, how these different programs, what they really work best with and how they sort of operate with their algorithms, or like how people discover through these platforms. And even just it's not simple, but like the idea of curating your YouTube platform to be in a certain way and to have a certain aesthetic. I was like, yeah, of course it needs that.
Right.
So in this webinar, they like pointed out all these little things and like a community hub. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is on YouTube, but it's like, wow, this is all news to me. And like, I'm finding out new things every day. But like, go and look at your favorite artists on YouTube. Like, how are they curate? Like, of course they have a lot more money to create more visually appealing things, but how are they setting up? Like, it's all curated. Like it's all, it can be kind of fine tuned. And, yeah, I don't know. There's so many little things like that too, like intricate details that you may not realize are kind of important to people. Like Elise was saying, like what pops out to you. Maybe there's like colors that really, you know, speak to your brand that people are gonna expect to see and things like that too. I don't know. There's all these tiny little puzzle pieces to figure out.
And it's a lot of things. Like, I think it gets overwhelming because now we're just like, oh, fuck. Like, I can hardly handle Instagram. Now they're telling me to go on YouTube.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, I think the best thing to do is to just, like, pause for a second.
Yep. Pause.
Take a weekend. Like, take the first weekend and, like, think about your audience, you know? Think about where they consume. Like, maybe they're not even on YouTube. Then you don't need to worry about YouTube, right? But just, like, think about it and, like, you know, prioritize the things. It's like, you know, a lot of the artists I work with, our priority is like Instagram, YouTube, and then some direct to fan. And then, so like figure that out, decide what it is that you're going to focus on, and then think about the content. Like YouTube, you're going to have long form videos and you're going to have short form videos. The short form videos can be taken from the long form, and it can be also, you can post it on Instagram Reels too. You're not really like, you're not actually like increasing your work. You're just thinking more deeply about how one piece of content can, you know, be directed to multiple platforms, and then like create a content plan, like figure out what your content pillars are, figure out what is like the most, like figure out 2 things a week that you can do consistently. And like easy things, like something where it's going to take you like no more than 20 minutes, you know, think about that and like start there. And then you can like think about these other pieces that you can like pop in there. And I mean, we do this as a company. Like we get together, we're like, and like, we're not even influencers. We don't even need to be influencers. Like we're not trying to really do that, but like, we're like, what's up ahead? What do we need to post about? What might come up? What can we do in between? And like, do that for your music, and like, be ready with the content, or know when because the worst thing you can do is like feel like you're always behind. That's when things get really overwhelming when it comes to social media. So just like take one weekend, figure that out, take the next weekend, make the content and the timeline.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people feel pressure that they need to come up with like great ideas on the spot or like right away. And I really believe that you should just write down your ideas when they come to you and build on them. Like songs, like we were talking about. And I feel like people might feel kind of isolated with the work they have to do too. So usually I try to recommend like find a friend who's also trying to do this, go out and film content together. And that way you don't really feel as awkward doing it by yourself too. I think a lot of people have a hard time getting over the fact that they're trying to build fans out of like, and not just appeal to their friends. I think with like smaller communities who artists are like, oh, it's just my friends watching. Like I feel like I don't know who, like I think there's a lot of insecurity there sometimes, or at least when I'm talking to people, there seems to be. And it's like, you got to think bigger picture a little bit too. And it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to think about, but just give yourself time and write it all down, plan it out like you're directing your own film. People don't go in and just start directing things. You got to write out your shot by shot. You got to like think of the angle. You know, there's so much involved. Again, there's not a lot of time in the day, but
that is also like, you know, back to AI where it can help you. If you're like, these are my content pillars. This is what I don't want to do this and that. Like, I feel comfortable doing this. Like, I don't want to do a talking head. I only want to do voiceovers. Yeah. I need to get across this message, but I don't want it to come across preachy. Like, give it like a long list of prompts and be like, can you give me 5 ideas for like how I might be able to get this point across with visual ideas and like script idea. Like you can ask it for all of those things, and then you can like go in and fine tune it a little bit. Like, but the peer support is huge, and I just think like, and especially like you're in a band, so it can be easier sometimes when you're in a band, because you can riff off of each other. I think
that's actually really big. Because you can split the management basically 3 ways, right? Which is huge.
Exactly. And also like even with content, like there's more people with their ideas, but like for solo artists, it's like it can be really isolating. So if you get together, if you're like, I don't know, start like a write night or whatever, where you all go and you like write your content out and you like, you know, get feedback from each other or
like writers in a writing room at like like at SNL, you know, these writers get together and they like help each other out and like build on each other's jokes. Like, you know,
I really do think like artists, I always say like artists hold the key. Even when you're touring and you're like, I wonder what venues I should play at. It's like, well, go look up the artists in that scene and ask them. Yeah.
Right.
You know, like artists hold the key. Like artists, the industry exists because of the artists. So like, make more friends with artists and like that's it, you know?
Collaboration. Yeah. Collaboration is key.
So going off of that, then like say you're booking a tour, you want to get gigs. How do we do that? What much
time do we have?
Exactly.
Like, wow, we got a whole workshop on this.
I guess just like quick, like biggest thing that you see with artists that you're working with, where like this is what you're not doing when you're booking gigs. What should you be doing?
Well, first, I think having a reason. Like, okay, when I was in a band, like we had to tour to like build an audience. Like people weren't discovering us like anywhere else, really. Like. Yeah, like we were just like when Instagram first came out, that was kind of like the end, like the last year of Go for the Eyes, and it wasn't like what it is now. So like touring, like we had to tour, like that's the only way we could make fans and sell merch. And now it's a bit different, and the culture around like ticket buying and going to shows has drastically changed. People aren't discovering music generally from like local shows. Like, yes, we have some of like the music nerds that we love and need that do that. They're like, oh, who's this band? And they look at posters. Generally speaking, that's not like how people are discovering music. And so when you're booking a tour, if you reach out to a venue in Saskatoon and you're like, hey, we want to book a show here. We're going to be there on this date. They're going to be like, okay, how many tickets can you sell? Yeah. Because like the venue's not making money unless there's people in the room.
Yeah. And I hear this all the time. It's like, and you have to be honest about it. Because then if you're not and they hire you, they won't ask you back.
Yeah. And like,
like, you know, that you don't want to burn those bridges.
The industry's small. The venues all talk, like especially like the popular ones, like they're going to, if you do a shit show there and then you try to book another one later and then their buddy's like, oh, have you heard of this band? Oh my God. They like literally play to the bar staff, which I've done before too.
Oh, 100%.
But
yeah, me too. Lots of times.
I think like, really, if you can go in with like a really good reason or like, again, like a story, if you're like, hey, you know, my cousins live there. They've always wanted to come see us play. They said that they would rally the troops. It's our first time going there, so we know that like we're gonna need a local band. We're happy to go out and like look for those people ourselves, or if you have some suggestions, we would really love that.
Yeah.
And like that already shows them that you're like self-aware.
Yeah.
It's even better though if you can like find the local band first.
Yeah.
And go to the venue and say, hey, we were talking to this local band and, you know, we're going to be coming on tour. They already said that they would play. And then, like, you know, and then you could say, like, we would love for you to find, like, another local and we'll, like, sandwich ourselves in between, you know? And then they're like, okay, that makes sense. Really, like, you just have to tell the venue, like, how you're going to bring people through the door. So that's, like, number one. Number two is, like, a lot of the venue bookers, it's like either like a passion of theirs. Well, it is a passion of theirs because even if they're getting paid, it's like nothing. They're like promoters and they're just like trying to help the community.
Know a lot of those people.
Yeah. Or it might be a volunteer, or it's like the person who owns a venue and they have better things to do than to read a long ass email. So straight to the point, be confident, like, hey, we're coming through, and like, don't be like, oh, we're just wondering, blah, blah, blah. Like, be like, we're coming through. We have this plan. It's going to be on this date. Like, bold the things that are really important. The most important thing you can send is a live video. They don't care what your recordings sound like. They don't care about your photos. They don't care about your EPK. The only thing they care about is what you sound like live. So it needs to be like a good live video with a good audio recording. Here's our live video. Looking forward to hearing back. And then like fucking bug them because they're getting so many emails.
Follow up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of like really it, isn't it?
I mean, also something that I used to do when I was an emerging artist is like notice when bands that are similar to you are coming through your own hometown, go to the shows and make friends with them and be like, just hang out, like talk to them, and then tell them about your own band and try to set something up with them in the future in their hometowns. Like there's ways that you can get to know people when they're coming through. Like just be really attuned to like what's happening in your community. And your friends will know bands. Like if your friends have gone on tour before, they'll be like, oh, you should play with this band we played with in Saskatoon last time.
Right.
And usually they'll be down because you're friends with the same people. And yeah, that's really how you start, is you just got to build that or like community pretty organically, you know, and but it is, it is a lot harder. It is a lot harder. And for any musician at any stage to book gigs these days too.
Yeah. And you need to have like a promotional and marketing plan too. Like you can't go to a new city and just expect people to show up.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to know, like, are you going to get there the day before and make friends with every person on the street and tell them to come to your show?
Yeah.
Are you going to like invest like, put a couple $100 into like meta ads? Like, are you going to do organic posts for like 6 months that are like talking about things in that market?
Awareness campaigns.
Like there's just like, you have to have a bit of a plan because everyone's really risk averse right now. Like, and venues they're not going to like, most of the things, like when you're starting out, it's going to be a door deal. You're only making money on the tickets. The venue's not going to be like, oh, here's $1,000 for this band that's never been, like, they need to make sure you can bring that many in tickets. So think about that. How are you going to sell tickets? And actually, like, if you go to the venue and you're like, this is our plan, like that looks great. The other thing I'll say is, until they're like absolutely not and fuck off or whatever, like I'll just kind of keep asking questions. So like if the venue is like, I actually, and I've had this happen where they're like, we're a pretty big room. Like, we're like a 500 capacity room. Like, can you sell that? And I'll be like, oh, no. And then I'll be like, but would you be able to recommend some other rooms like around? Are there places like that would be more like 50 to 100 cap? And you know what? They'll usually share that with you. They're usually like impressed that you care that much. Same thing if you're reaching out to local bands. If they're like, no, we're unavailable. And actually, I always say like, put it all out there in the first email too. Like, if you're emailing a venue, you're like, if we're not a great fit,
Right,
would love
right.
to know if you could recommend other venues. Or if it's a band you're reaching out to, if you're not available, would you be able to like throw out a few other artists that you know of that would be, you know? So like, don't give them any reason
And for
to
them,
like
because
end the
they're usually
conversation.
friends with those artists, they'll be like, oh yeah, like they're gonna hook their friends up with a gig potentially.
Exactly.
So just be like, yeah, set you guys up. Yeah.
Yeah, you always want it to be like a yes and
Yeah.
Totally.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. What does Misfits and Odd Dolls have coming up? What's 2026 looking like for you guys?
Well, a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Like we're constantly having to change and adapt how we do things. We're really gravitating more towards building fans, like really trying to dig into how that's done, how to market to those people. It's becoming more and more interesting with all the changes going on. So a lot more focus is going to be on that for sure. I don't know. We usually do a lot of traveling, but we'll see if we need to later on this year. I know Elise is going to be really busy this spring with a lot of traveling, but
Yeah, that's probably it. It's sort of like creative phase right now too for like well, for sure, like Kim Mortal usually keeps me the busiest, and I'm still busy, but yeah, apart from like a remix EP, we're just in like creative mode, which is super fun.
yeah, Jade as well. Like everyone we're working with is
Yeah.
So we're like, what else can we be doing?
Yeah. So it's a good time to regroup though, because last year was like crazy. Like there was so much going on and everyone was releasing stuff, or we launched the label, we put out a bunch of music and
Hired more team, built the team. Yeah.
So we're sort of like in recovery and discovery. No, it's
I like that.
Yeah, recovery and discovery. But also like, you know, it's very clear that the music industry is going through a drastic change right now. And it's also very clear that like streaming is dying. So moving forward, we're like, with that in mind, what do we do? And that's where like this whole direct to fan approach and building community and like just trying to think of like quality fans over quantity fans. And how are we going to do that? So it's fun and interesting and creative. Yeah, it feels kind of nice because it's a challenge, and I think last year it was just like going through the motions and just like, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Like it was just so much, and we were just going through the motions of like what you're supposed to do, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And now we're like, okay, but like rather than what we're supposed to do, like what are we capable of, you know?
Yeah, and things just shift so rapidly, like from year to year. And our priorities have changed too. I mean, when we started the business, there were things that we thought were really, really important that you needed to do, or like you felt your artists deserved, you know, certain things. And then you go through a couple years and you're like, oh, I was very wrong about that. Or like, you know, it's just, we're still a young company. We're still figuring out things like all the time. And you just got to stay humble and you got to like do your research, see what other people are dealing with, and roll with the punches a lot of the time too. Like, which is hard, you know, like there's like, I deal with a lot of like mental health things, you know. I'll admit I had a like huge burnout last year, and it's like knowing what your capacity is, knowing how you can help the people around you in your capacity. Like it's all part of it. And I think we're also learning about each other's strengths and how we can help each other, you know, and it's just such a journey, and it's always changing. So
Yeah.
when you ask what's coming up, it's like anything new
Yeah.
will
We don't
probably
know.
happen.
Time will tell.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But Elise is getting mentorship. Like mentorship's really important. People should always find mentors at whatever stage they're at. Like find people who want to help you out, because there will be people who want to help you out and help you grow. So
Yeah, I think like, and in terms of mentorship too, is like one thing I've been doing like in the last year is like trying to have conversations with and like, and yeah, just have, like receive wisdom from people who are like where I want to be, like it's so easy to like keep talking with your peers like on the same level and like bitch about things and like that's cool, but like the fact that I show up to a mentor meeting and I'm sort of nervous is like fucking cool, and because it's like and like I'm nervous sometimes to like tell them about like what I don't know or to share certain things, and like sometimes they're like, why do you do that? That's weird, like, and I'm like, I don't know why, like, but it's good, it's like good to be challenged like that, because that's like the only way that you grow. And so I think that's important, like whether you're an artist or you're a company, is like, if you're like, not, I shouldn't say threatened, if you're intimidated by somebody, like see if they'll mentor you.
Totally.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's like, that's, I don't know, it's like I'm a strong, or like I appear, like I'm like a peacocking person, like it's like people think I've like got it together, and that's just because of like how I hold myself, but like inside I'm like, bah! Like so it's like, it's nice for me to like be in a situation where I cannot feel stronger than that other person, and they can sort of just like rib me a new asshole, and I can like get stronger repairing it.
Love that.
Yeah,
that's the clip.
Yeah.
On that note, Misfits, has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, Claire-Elise, thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah,
Learned a
thanks for
lot
having
about the industry today and management. This is great. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Thank you.
Hopefully others will learn a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Thanks for doing what you do.
Exactly.
It's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Listen to his music.
All right.
Sweet.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of In the Zone. If you're on YouTube, you can like the video and subscribe to support the show. If you're on another podcast platform, give us 5 stars, give us a follow, do what you can. Just throw me a freaking bone here, okay? I'm busting my ass day and night to make a good podcast just for you. So please do what you can. I appreciate it. While you're at it, go over to Instagram at inthezone.wpg and give that a follow if you haven't already. Thank you so much. You're the best. Love you lots. See you next time.